Hello, I'm EnterElysium and welcome to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4. What is Hearts of Iron, you might say? Hearts of Iron 4 is a grand strategy game by Paradox set just before and during World War II. You take control of the country and you guide it into and hopefully through World War II and out the other side. So this is a pre-release video. The game actually comes out on Tuesday, next Tuesday after the game, like this video is released, like not some random Tuesday. And there are certain restrictions, like I can't tell you if the game is good or not, I can't rate it, or anything that could be evaluated as rating the game. I can, however, tell you that there will be lots of videos of this today. This entire day is probably going to be Hearts of Iron 4 day on my channel, so, you know, draw what conclusion you want from that. I'm also streaming it, probably, if everything goes to plan, over at twitch.tv/EnterElysium right now. Now being released, not just every day for the future of mankind. No. But you can go watch that if you want. We're going to be playing a new game and diving straight into the action, single player, new game, and there are two start dates. It says 1939, basically the beginning of hostilities are proper, although I'm pretty sure that most of Central and Eastern Europe will consider hostilities began a lot earlier. Poor Czechoslovakia, I mean. But you can do that if you want to just go straight in, like, oh yeah, I want to do the military stuff, I want to do the fighting and the beach fronts and the beach heads and many things with beaches. But actually, I'm going to do the 1936 start. I think this is a lot more interesting. It's the whole getting your industry ready for war, sort of mechanizing your troops, well, not mechanizing them, but modernizing them, preparing, and sort of trying to get the alliances together. And it's also where you can start messing with history and doing an alt history, which is what we're going to do with this playthrough. Dark times are coming. In Europe, Hitler has consolidated his power, and his attention is now increasingly drawn beyond Germany's borders. Mussolini's Italy continues to embark on daring military adventures. Daring military adventures being Ethiopia. While the Emperor of Japan stands poised to attack China in Asia, almost 20 years have passed since the end of the Great War, and the world has yet again been doused in gasoline. A single spark may be all it takes. So yeah, we're going to do 1936, select scenario, and we are going to be playing as France. You might be saying, well, didn't France lose the Second World War fairly early on? Didn't they, like, get defeated? And, you know, yes, dear viewer, you would be right. But we're going to play alt history France. What if France, instead of siding with the Allies, instead sided with the Axis and joined Germany? The best way to not get squished by Germany is to join them. You can't beat them, join them, right? That's what they say. So we're going to be playing as France. We're going to try and join the Axis as soon as possible and be like, hey, we just love Germany. And we'll see what happens from then on, which is going to place us in an interesting position of trying to take on the United Kingdom. These are the nations that actually have their own sort of dedicated focus tree. They have like special abilities and stuff that they can get and events that they can unlock. You can play as basically any nation in the game, but these are the ones that have a tree so far. I believe that they have said that they're going to be more coming or something, or I imagine there will be more coming at some point. But for now, these are the ones that you can play as that have got special things. So despite the devastation of the Great War, France has been on the road to recovery thanks to a strong economy. However, the Depression still affected the country, and the new German regime has no interest in paying the war reparations stipulated by the Treaty of Versailles, mainly because that kind of made them bankrupt. Anyway, when the treaty was signed, a French marshal famously remarked that it was not peace, but an armistice of 20 years. Those 20 years are now rapidly running out. Yeah, that's unerringly accurate. So we start off with these three, I guess you would call them abilities, effects, conditions, victors of the Great War. Basically, we lost a lot of people, you know, they died. And also, we're complacent. We're super complacent. We're like, war can never happen again. So we get recruitable population is down by 0.3%. Land doctrine research time takes another 75% longer, which is, like, crazy. And then you've got disjointed government, which is daily political power cost, plus 0.8. I'm sure that's meant to be a negative. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's meant to be minus 0.8, which is like it's 40% of our daily political power, which is a really important currency in the game, so that's a big loss. Also, national unity minus 10%. National unity is basically a measure of when your government will give in, like, to an aggressor. Like, if you take over a certain amount of the country, how much do you need to take over before they give in? Like, the Germans, it's 90%, so you need to take, like, most of Germany out. Whereas France, it's 30%. I think it's 40 minus 10 because of that, so it's pretty low, 30% for the start of the game. We also have protected by the Maginot Line. We get max plan plus 25%, max speed minus 25%. So the Maginot Line also is like a load of stuff we have, which is literally fortresses all down the border of Germany. just in case. Not across the border with Belgium, though, because no one would ever go through Belgium to get to France. So we actually do have that advantage against Germany. Not that we're going to need them, because, you know, we're going to try and make friends with them as soon as possible. We're probably good to go. So we've got France. Let's go. Hello. Oh, look, countryside. Colour. Countryside. Colour. I like that. Not that I'm saying whether it's good or bad, but I like it. We're going to go on regular difficulty, and I'm not going to have Iron Man mode because no, and I'm also going to have historical AI focuses off. If I have this on, it means that they're going to tend to follow their national focus tree like they did historically. So Britain is going to want to be my friend. Germany and the Soviets are probably going to be like, do you want to go out and take away a Poland and split it? And they're going to be like, yeah, I really want to go out and take out a Poland. That'd be lovely. And they get together, they have some wine, they split Poland. And then when it gets to the Czech, they have a bit of a falling out and one declares war on the other. We're going to have that off, partly because we're planning to mess history up anyway, but also because it'd be interesting to see how alt history plays out. So feel free to have wondrous, wacky consequences. Okay. I think we're good. By the way, it is easy as France to go communist because you start off with quite a high amount of communism. So it's quite easy to say join the Soviet Union or something, but that would still mean we're having to fight Germany. And for this first one, I fancy doing something a little bit more... I would say easier. It's not necessarily easy because you're directly in the path of the United Kingdom, and also when the USA eventually joins the United Kingdom, which it probably will do, it's very hard to stop that. Then everyone. You also got Spain nearby, who's most likely to be a nationalist Spain, Republican Spain, a Spain that's, you know, not fascist after the Civil War, but we'll have to see how that goes. So let's dive in. Now, there's going to be a lot of building up at the beginning. This is, you know, the whole build up to the war, preparing, getting people in sphere of influence, making sure we flip sides. It's not going to be all straight into the action of this one, and there is going to be that little bit of build up involved. But as soon as we go fascist, we can start declaring on people. Although there is a downside that will raise world tension and make people more aggressive towards us. But, yeah. So I'm just going to make a quick note here. There's a lot of stuff in this game. This game is very deep. For instance, compared to Stellaris is a lot easier to pick up and just play. This game has a lot more mechanics and stuff in it. That said, it does work with the mechanics. You know, they're not just there unnecessarily, but I can't really say anything more than that without saying whether things are good or bad, but it is going to take me a lot longer to explain. That said, I'm going to try and do a tightrope walk. I'm going to try and explain things to you. I'm going to try and take my time enough that you can hopefully follow along with what we're doing and follow along with what I'm talking about when I mention these things up here. But at the same time, I don't want to bog down into like all the nitty-gritty, because I know a lot of you want to see very quickly, is the game, you know, what you're expecting from it. That said, I also want you to follow along so that when you get the game, if you get the game, because, you know, you might not, it might be terrible, who knows, I can't say. If you get the game, you at least have some general understanding of how to get into the game, because like most Paradox games, it is pretty tough to get into this, and although I've got 50 hours in the game, I feel I understand most of the basics pretty reasonably. I don't think I fully yet am like, woo, I know how to beat it, like, you know, with something like Stellaris, where I do feel that I can quite easily game Stellaris at the moment. This, I'm still a little bit learning the ropes, and, you know, I'm going to try and explain things so that you can follow along. Right. That said, let's start. So we're going to pick out our national focus. So as I mentioned before, you have national focuses that are sort of unique to countries. A lot of countries don't have them. Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, Turkey, I don't think they have dedicated focuses. I'm not sure about Turkey, actually. But things like the German Reich, United Kingdom, France, Soviet Union, United States, they all have their own focus trees. So ours looks like this. There's a lot of stuff. And you have to grab them and go down them and do different things. But I'm pretty much got my one already picked out because of what we're choosing to do. There is this focus tree over here, which is government reform. Now, the historical thing would be to go government reform, then support the status quo, then go with Britain, which means that we join the Allies, or at least United Kingdom gets the event France wants to join the Allies, and then United Kingdom can turn us down or something, and then you can go as you want. You know, invite Yugoslavia, invite Romania, guarantee Poland, because that'll work out well. But we're going to go this way. We're going to go revise the Treaty of Versailles. So we revise Versailles, then we support the right, which means that we become daily fascism increases by 0.2 per day. So hopefully our fascism will get really, really high. That's probably the only time I'm ever going to say that in my life. And then we go to a right-wing rhetoric, which gives us a fascist demagogue. Fascism support increases more. Germany, Italy, Japan like us more. United Kingdom likes us less. Soviet Union hates us. Then we get the army of aggression. Then we get to join Germany. And then Germany gets the event. France wants to join our faction. So that's our tree, basically chosen for us because we're trying to do this event as soon as possible. So no national focus prerequisites. It'd be helpful if I could speak right now. And we get political power plus 120. Political power being this, which I'll be talking about quite a bit. Currently, we're getting 1.2 per day. Unfortunately, that's down by 0.8 because of disjointed government. Hooray! So let's reform our government. And you see that we are now gaining 0.2 per day because it takes 1 per day to do the reforms. Sadly, reforms are definitely worth it, but it means we're going to be getting very little of the political power, which is needed for so many things. So many things. All of this, political power. Your conscription, political power. Your exports, political power. Your consumer economy, political power. And then all the bonuses that the other ones give you. So, yeah. We're going to be having some fun. Next, let's look at our civilian factories. So, civilian factories are basically the building block of an economy. That's the basic building block. Currently, we have 36. 13 are being used for consumer goods. You see that we're producing 30% of our economy has to go towards consumer goods because of our, sadly, our economic ideals. Stupid economy. And this means that we're losing, a third of our factories. So the rest, they're used for building. They build factories. They build military factories. They build dockyards, rocket sites, nuclear reactors, synthetic refineries, naval bases. You get the idea. They build buildings. All of this, they build. So building a load of civilian factories helps you build up your infrastructure to be able to better build other stuff. Or more stuff, right? So we want to, right now, build a load of civilian factories to get our infrastructure rolling. Because right now, we don't have enough. I really want to get up to about 60 minimum. Probably won't happen before the start of war, but I'll try. So the difference between a civilian factory and a military factory. A civilian factory builds factories and stuff. A military factory will produce you the goods needed for war, like guns and grenades and jeeps and tanks and Spitfires, although only if you're Britain because we've got our own ones. I can't remember what they're called, but they're not Spitfires. But you can convert a civilian factory into a military factory, and it costs less than building a new. So what we can do is we can build a load of civilian factories right now, and then when it gets to war, we can convert a load of them over so that we're producing enough to be able to maintain the war effort, because during war, you actually use up your material a lot faster. People's guns need replacing, people need more grenades, etc. People need new jeeps. You get the gist. We also have things like dockyards, which are used to make more ships. Now, since we're going fascist, we're going to have an interesting problem. We have the United Kingdom right next door, and the United Kingdom has the Royal Navy. They are the strongest navy in the game. They're probably going to end up allied with the United States, who has the second strongest navy in the game. France doesn't have a strong navy, not in comparison. So we're going to have to sort out that issue. It's probably not going to be through our navy. It's probably going to be another way. If we take the words of, I believe, Admiral Scheer, the German, what was it this time? First World War. What was the First World War Germany called? German Empire? Maybe. I don't know, Emperor. Anyway. Basically, economic warfare is the only way to defeat the United Kingdom, because you can't defeat them on the water by sheer force of firepower. Ships just aren't going to cut it. You need to bring out the submarines. So what we should do is focus on getting some submarines out. So let us go to our Navy tab. So this is production. I tend to focus on either Navy or this, because this is military factories and these are dockyards. Not sure why they're quite on the same production interface, because they use completely different things, but naval dockyards. We've actually got on 3. We're only using 7 of our 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to produce less submarines, because this is submarine 1. We have a better submarine. It's called submarine 2. It's just better, as far as I'm aware, in every regard. So we're going to make sure you only produce the one that you're slated to produce, because you're nearly finished. And we're going to get you to produce, I don't know, 20? I'll give you some more. Destroyers, sure. Yeah, I'd like more. Battleship, sure. And light cruiser, sure. Now, I don't actually have enough naval dockyards for this. You notice that a lot of them are grey. And as we get more naval dockyards, they will be added to these. I'm actually going to put you down to 1, since I don't actually need you all that desperately. I'm going to shift-click and put you to the end of the queue. And then these submarines are being concentrated on. Sure. I should also probably state where you should be built at. That might help. We're going to produce them in our Mediterranean stronghold. The idea being that while we can't really protect ourselves from the United Kingdom, when we go fascist, we can try and at least have them on the other side so that they don't get bombed or something. So I think we should build them in Marseille. Oh, we can't. Oh, Toulon. Toulon. Yeah, you've got naval port, you don't. No, you've got naval base. Well, I don't know. Anyway, we'll build them in Toulon. Or I could accidentally click. Whoopsie. Don't mind me. Right. Toulon. Well, I guess the province is Provence. There we go. Then we also need to pick our research. We've got 3 research slots available. Now, the very first researches, I tend to go for engineering, electronic mechanical engineering, which takes 95 days, and will reduce our research time by 2% for all future technologies, which is, very useful. So we're going to do that. Now, I could go something like, atomic research, which does the same thing, minus 2% research time, but it's 4 years advanced and would take a lot longer to do. You see that it would take over 1,500 days. That's why we should not go too far ahead of ourselves. So we're going to grab electronical mechanical engineering. And then for the second one, I want to get something industry related. So we have construction 1. Time to research, 190 days, construction speed plus 10%. So this will basically buff our construction speed, and something that I desperately need right now, as I have mentioned at length, that I need to have a decent industrial base. I should also try and grab basic machine tools or synthetic oil. So synthetic oil experiments allows you to build a synthetic refinery. The synthetic refinery allows you to make oil and rubber without having to import it, sorry. I don't really want to import it because I know that when I'm at war with the United Kingdom, they're going to shut down a lot of my supply routes because they have ships and I can't really face them. So they're going to shut down a lot of my foreign supply routes from overseas. So we might actually have to go synthetic oil experiments. The problem is it does take a very long time, and right now I want to get this done. This is our first fighter. Now, of course, we technically have a fighter already, but it's the interwar fighter. It's the one fighter we've been using for the last ages, and we would rather get a more modern fighter up and running. So this is the Moraine Schulnier MS-406. We're going to grab that. It's going to take 190 days, and then we'll start able to produce this in large numbers and be able to try and field them into the air and protect ourselves against the horrific air forces of Great Britain, and maybe even put some force on them ourselves and bring them the hurt, because I think we need to try and defeat Great Britain before the Americans get involved. As soon as they get involved, this is just a staging post for whacking Europe, and I'm directly in the firing line. So you notice that now we've done this, we've got a blinking icon up here that's like, insufficient resources. Yeah, we need oil. I'll talk about that in a second. Firstly, we're going to try and build some divisions. So this is our division designer. We can't really do much with this at the moment because we don't actually have any army experience, which is needed to reform the army. So instead, we're just going to build infantry, division infantry. If we look at it, it's got 9 infantry squads, I guess you are, along with a support artillery unit. So we're going to train that. Motorized infantry, basically much quicker reacting, much faster to get to the scene of a fight, punching through reinforcements, etc. You see they have like bonuses to do with mountains and hills, etc. in terms of movement speed. They've got support artillery, also a recon company. We will probably want to train you. Alpine infantry, they're like sort of pseudo special forces. I'll talk more about special forces later on. But basically they have like bonuses in hilly areas. I think mountains, yeah, mountains and hills. Sure, we'll train one of those. And we'll also train Brigade de Chars de Combat, which is just a light tank unit. This one is the Division Léger Mécanique, the Division Legion Mechanical, which is, yeah, motorized and tanks. We won't bother with that, just because I want to try and save a little bit. We've got enough building right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to build 4 units of infantry, 1 unit of mechanized, 1 unit of alpine infantry, and 1 unit of tanks. And we're going to do this... we could do it what I was thinking is we could basically do infinity until we cancel it. But I'd actually like to be able to keep track of how many I'm building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a limit. And I'm thinking we need 16 infantry. So this will build us 4 times 4. These 4 build in parallel, then it'll be another 4 and another 4. What we should do is maybe just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Get 8 units building. That'll build us 4 units of you. 4 units of you. And 4 units of you. Okay. We need 10 oil. We'll check that back in a second. Construction, not construction, production. So now we've got to produce all of the materials required for our troops and, of course, all the tanks. So you can see, by the way, if I just bring out planes, we're not building any aircraft right now. I don't really want to. Our aircraft are currently useless, and I would like to upgrade them, which is why I'm researching the next level fighter. As soon as we've got that fighter upgraded, we can start producing it. And I will produce it in numbers, vast quantities. But these are our tanks and our equipment we need. You notice that we need quite a lot of equipment. Don't need too much in the way of support equipment. So I'm going to put you at the end of the queue. Towed artillery, we need some. Light tanks, we need some. Motorized, we need quite a few. Now, these build at different rates. For instance, this is building 11 per day. This is building 5.5 per week. Although, you know, we've got twice as many factories here. This is building 1 a week. This is building 5 a week. We're probably going to have to increase the number of tanks, or at least the production aimed towards tanks. So let's put it something like that. Something like that. I notice that they're complaining about being red here. This production line uses 0 units of oil, 1 more units are required for full efficiency. Otherwise, it will continue at a reduced speed. We need to get ourselves some oil. Where are we going to get our oil from? Well, we should have the resource map up. You can see that, oh, look, there's loads of oil around here. Surprisingly enough, it's the Middle East. We ourselves have quite a lot of aluminium and steel. We're quite well off in that. Tungsten here. Chromium here. What's the other one? Rubber. Ooh. Rubber. Some in Liberia. I swear we get rubber from somewhere close by. I mean, you know, Liberia is great and all. Ah, hello. Where do we get rubber from? Well, I know there's loads over here. Right. French Indonesia. Look at that. 94 rubber. Rubber. Oh, God. That's like 200. Wow. Rubber. Yeah. So this is going to be kind of important for bringing us rubber. That said, it's a long way overseas, and we have to go through the Suez Canal, which is controlled by the United Kingdom, which they're obviously not going to really want that going on as soon as we're at war with them. And then we're up to here. So we have to go through the Mediterranean as well. I'm really hoping that we can avoid a mess with the United Kingdom, because that'd be grand. For now, we're going to just get it from the United States. They'll probably cancel it eventually when we stop being friends, but we're going to have to buy it in the amounts of 8. So we get 2 amounts of 8, which is 16, and it'll cost us 2 civilian factories. So basically, the output of 2 of our civilian factories is now going to the Americas. So the United States is getting the output of those factories, so we lose 2 of our factories out of 23. And in exchange, we get 16 oil. And if I unpause... There we go. We're importing 16. We have a surplus of 6. And the message has gone away. We have low manpower, however. We have like 250,000. Oh well. We also need to probably put down our deployment location for our divisions. Here we go. Oh god, no, not one more. There we go. Location, Avignon. I'm just choosing Avignon because it's relatively central. And that way I can have all my units in one place. So the way units grow, in inverted commas, is that you need to fill up their equipment, and then their training goes up as they train. Now, their training can never be higher than their equipment. So if you have an equipment shortage, their training's going to stall. I mean, you can't really train someone if they don't have a rifle. You can train them a certain amount, but eventually you will need a rifle. They will need a tank. They will need a motorized vehicle. They're going to need equipment to be able to train. So we want to try and get that equipment out as soon as possible. We are producing in limited amounts, although more military factories would be excellent. But that said, we need to make more civilian factories to build more military factories. But that is it so far for this video. I know, we've literally gone like 2 hours in the game. Basically, not really even unpaused. But this is going to be where the build-up starts. We're going to start next episode by just speeding up time, seeing what happens with our factories, hoping that we can get friends with Germany before it all goes crazy. Because for a start, we want to get a little bit of land before it goes crazy. Maybe, you know, eat some Belgium, maybe even chew on some Spain, possibly some Liberia, and certainly move towards securing the Suez Canal. Because that's going to be a very important location. Because with that, we can have a trade ships come up here into the Med. And then if we can lock down this from the United Kingdom, we can then prevent them sending reinforcements into the Med. If we can lock this closed, the Straits of Gibraltar, did you call it the Straits of Gibraltar? It seems a little bit, you know, United Kingdom focused. But if we can close that off, we can have the Mediterranean all to ourselves. But I fear the Royal Navy, and as well I should. Anyway, I've been EnterElysium. If you have enjoyed, please like or subscribe. Please consider subscribing. And until next time, stay shiny. But do bear in mind, I know, you're like, wait, haven't they ended? I am streaming now on twitch.tv/EnterElysium. I'm streaming probably United Kingdom, I feel. If I'm awake. My God, I'm going to be up late. This is like 5 a.m. Yeah, so come over and check that if you want. And also do leave me the likes and the comments down below, because I really want to know, you know, if you're looking forward to the game, particularly if you like how I'm covering it, what you would want me to play next, etc. I know it's very early to be thinking about this stuff, but particularly for things like streams or whatever it might matter. And, you know, really to gauge feedback of the series, to see what you like about it and to improve on things and this and that and the other. So just generally to be able to get a gist of how you're meshing with this as a series, because it's a lot slower than something like Stellaris. It's a lot more in-depth, it's a lot more, you know, little intricate systems and so on. So if you can give me any feedback, that'd be absolutely grand, even if it's just you're awesome, because, you know, that's just nice to read. Anyway, till next time, stay shiny.